Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy 150. This is Module 3. We have just finished the lower part of the body, and so now we need to go ahead and give the instructions for turning in the screenshots, how to get those set up, and then how to render the front and back solid shade and front and back wireframe. So we're gonna have about eight images front and back that we're going to turn in. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want you to do is, obviously you should have stopped at video 7. I even wrote down under video 7 to stop at that point, because we're going to move on into module 4 to go up the body. And the reason why I broke it up into two parts is that it's just too long to do the whole entire thing in 1 week. So we just did the lower body first, and I need you to turn that in. Please do not go any farther than video 7. And then once you turn your work in, you're welcome to proceed, of course, but I only need to see what you have done up to video 7. So with that said, go ahead and turn off the background, and I've got wireframe on shaded, just this little icon right here. If you cannot get your model to be smooth, you just want to right click over and go to edge mode, and you want to select all the edges, hold down the space bar, go to mesh display, and then soften edge. Okay, and then click back off again, and let's go in here. And so we're gonna go ahead, and there's not much to really render. This is where we're at, and we didn't really do toes, and we just blocked out a very loose like foot, and then we're going to refine that, of course, into something a lot nicer than that. Okay, we got the knee, you got the back of the leg looking good. Okay, so everything's looking pretty good. So all we need to do now is just kind of show it off in a front perspective and a back perspective. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get the screenshots out of the way. So I'm going to go up into the upper right hand corner and go to Expert. And I'm going to move that all the way over if I can. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the attribute editor. And just zoom in here like that. Okay, I'm going to turn off the grid, so show grid, turn that off. There we go. So we're going to get a perspective front. Alright. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, something like that would work just fine. And we're going to go down here and get the snipping tool, hit the S key on your Windows line, and just type in S and you should see snipping tool in your search bar. And let's go in here to rectangular snip, and let's just go ahead and snip this part right here. Tool. That was really strange. File, save as, and we're going to go into your first name, last name, module, MOD 03, and let's go ahead and do screen PERSP 01. Let's put leg in here so we know what it is. LEG. There we go. And that'll be our first one. JPEG, please. Desktop. Go ahead and close that. And we're just going to rotate. Actually, let's just, while we're in here, let's go ahead and turn on wireframes. Kill two birds with one stone real quick. So I'm going to hit the S key again. There we go. Snipping tool. Go into rectangle and go ahead and let's do another shot of that with wireframe on. File, save as. It goes right to here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that leg, and we're going to do screen underscore wire. We'll do that as 1. Yep. There we go. Close that. And let's rotate around the back. Something like that would be good. With wireframe on, let's go ahead. Let's wrap around a little bit more. Like that. And let's hit the S key. Snipping tool. Okay. Alright. And this is going to be wire perspective 2. Okay. And go ahead and save that. You can pause the video if I'm going too fast. Okay, and then we got one more without the wireframe, like that. And I'm going to hit the S key and snipping tool. Okay, get that snipped. And save that. And this one is just going to be screen. There we go. I think that should do it. Okay, awesome. Alright, let me minimize and just take a look at what we have then. We just render right to the desktop. Alright, let's go in here and take a look. There we go. Alright, so let's go back. Okay, so this is where we started. Front perspective, wireframe. Back perspective, wireframe, and then there we go. So those are the 4 that I need. And now we're going to go ahead and render out the 4 that we need for render. Let's go ahead and rotate that. I'm going to go out of expert into classic. That way we can see stuff here. Alright, so make sure your Arnold is open and working. And let's go ahead and go to Arnold Renderer, and let's change this from 6 to 3. And then Commons tab, we're going to go into HD 1080. And because this is such a long, this is, I don't need that extra length, we're just wasting space, so let's go ahead and do 2K square. So in here we'll do 2K square. Alright. And so to see that, I'm going to have to go in here and do a mask, and I'm going to have to pull this over, so I'm going to go Control A, select the object, Control A, and that allows me to go in my attributes, and I can move this over, and so I can get, see, now I can see the matte, what I'm actually going to render, so I need to get that in there like that. Alright, so front and back, same exact thing we did with our screenshots. Okay. Alright, so I'm just doing a 24 square. You can see why I won't go much further than that. This will give me a better resolution and be able to see things a little bit better. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and get set up for rendering. We're just going to do something very simple. So I'm going to go right click over this and go to assign new material, and we're going to assign Arnold shader AI standard surface. And in here we're just going to turn the color to this color here, 1, 2, 3 up. There we go. And we're going to leave everything else the same. I don't mind a little shininess here. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to add, we're going to just keep that just the way it is. And I'm going to go to the top view. We're going to do a 3-point light system. So let's go ahead and go to the top view here and get everything set up. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is create a dome, a Skydome. So go to Arnold, and let's go ahead and click on Create Skydome Light. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go in here to Create. We're going to go to Lights and Directional Light. And I'm going to go ahead and scale that up and move it like that. There we go. And I'm going to rotate. Alright. Cool. Alright, so that'll be our key light. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to do Control D and duplicate that over and just rotate this over this way. That's going to be our fill light. I'm going to take this, Control D, and then move it. And I'm going to rotate this like that. There we go. And move it back here a little bit like that. Okay, so there we are. Our cameras are over here somewhere looking at this prospectively. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to move these guys. And it doesn't matter where these are as far as in space they are. What matters is their angle. So I'm just going to bring that up here like that just so we can see it. Alright. Okay, so we got our dome. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more interest to the light. So we're going to go ahead and bring that down a little bit like that. And we're going to bring this down a little bit too as well. And then this one's going to go almost straight down, but not quite there. It'll give us some light from the opposite side. Alright, let's bring that up just a little bit. Like that. Okay, that'll work. This light intensity will be a, let's just do it at 1, and we'll go into Arnold here, and this is going to actually emit some shadows, so let's turn the samples up to 2. The angle is how the shadows disperse across. Since we don't really have any, like a floor plane, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to put it in there anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 on that. And exposure needs to be about the same, so I'm going to do 1 on that. We can always turn this down if we need to. Alright, the second light, okay, so we got that light all set up. Let's add a little warmth to the light, so I'm going to turn on the first light here, the key light. Use color temperature. Okay, this is the color of the light, so I'm going to do something like 5800. And that'll give us kind of a warmer feel. And the cast shadows is on. Now, we don't want to, let's go to the fill light. We don't want cast shadows on the fill light, so let's turn that off. And the exposure should be something like half of what we had before, so let's do 0.5. And we need the intensity at 0.5 as well. So intensity and exposure should be just about the same. Use color temperature, let's do 5800. Let's keep it consistent. There we go. And cast shadows needs to be turned off. And then the rim light, or the backlight, this needs to be cut in half of 0.5, so it's 0.25. Exposure 0.25. There we go. And cast shadows is off. Alright, cool. And then we want the background to be black. So to do that, we have to select the dome, and then let's turn this down to something like 0.25. We don't need it very bright, and let's do 0.25 on there. And then we want it to cast shadows. Samples need to be something like 2 on there. And then the camera needs to be turned all the way off. Okay. And that what that does is that just turns the background from white to black. And now we're just going to kind of center our leg, okay, within that frame like that. Something interesting, perspectively would be good. And then we will render. Let's go ahead and render that. So I'm going to pause it. I'm not sure how long it will take to render. Okay, that looks good. It looks nothing like skin. I don't want it to. I want to be able to see if you have any really bad areas, like creasing, and this will actually show it. If your model is flat and not reflective, it's really easy to hide mistakes. So that's why I had you make it shiny and kind of reflective, so that works out really well. So I want you to save this. How do you do that? Go to File, Save Image, and go into the option box and make sure that you turn on Color Managed Image. Apply and close, and then you can go to File, Save Image now. When you click on that, I'm going to go to the desktop and just save the image there. And I can click on like something we've done before and just do this one, click on that, and let's just do on the end of perspective, just do render. There we go. And then underscore. Okay, so that makes it easy for you. Save it. And then what we'll do here is, let me go ahead and get back out of here. And now this one, let's go ahead and delete the history on this. Polygon modeling, delete history. And we got our AI standard surface right here. Let's go ahead and rename that so it's easy to get. So I'm going to just call this leg, all caps, and then texture. Alright. So hit enter. So instead of redoing this again, like rotating it, getting the back, we're going to go ahead and just right click over this and assign new material again. Go into Arnold shader and then go to wireframe. And as you guys know, you can do wireframe on here. It's pretty cool. Go from triangles to polygons and just do another quick render. And this won't take long at all. I don't need to pause the video for this. Alright, so now everything's good. Just click Save Image. And then let's go to Desktop. And you can see right here, I can go to Wireframe Perspective and just add render on that. Alright, and then that is, oh, excuse me, perspective render, wire. Yeah, we need to put wire on there. Oh, that does have wire on it. There we go, right there. There is a wire. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, perfect. Save it. Awesome. And then close that. Now we can rotate around like that. Set it up. Alright, and let's go ahead and render that. Again, that won't take long. That looks good. File, save image, and we want to do wire 2. So I'm going to click on this, render, and then just put a 2 right here. I don't need JPEG, so I'm going to get rid of that. That's going to mess things up, so I'm going to have to go back in there and change that. So wire perspective 2. Okay. And then now we can just turn that back. So I'm going to right click over that object, go assign existing material, and look for leg texture, and there we are. So we're back where we were, and let's go ahead and render that out. Now this is going to take longer, so I'm going to pause it. Okay, it's done, and you're all finished with your 8 images that you need to turn in. So the next process is going to be basically saving your work out. Make sure you save everything out. Make sure that you keep a file of this, and you can call it whatever you want, so save that for your rendering, and then we can keep this render lights in here and just turn them off, you know, when you're modeling and stuff. So what I would do is just select the Skydome and select these lights and just put them in a layer and just rename that layer lights so we can use this again. We can tweak it a little bit probably. Alright, call that lights render and just turn that off, and we can continue modeling once you get that. So the next video is going to be under the deliverables and turn in. So this next video that I'm gonna make, and I need you to watch it, is what exactly you're gonna name, the folder structure, what you're gonna turn in, and how to turn it in. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.